Hey there, everyone. It's me, your favorite podcast host, the most fantastic of fabulous, Jason Lavelle. It's another fine Saturday evening, and it's time for another solo show. The last time my co host left town, we had the Women's Special, an hour of poetry celebrating the amazing women in our life. Tonight, I'm going to give you some book reviews from my recently read list. I'll be sharing my thoughts on two books tonight. The first is The Queen Underneath, a gritty fantasy novel by Stacey Filak. And the second is Love Lives Here, a memoir about life in a transgender family. These are two fantastic yet very different books, obviously. Okay, first up is The Queen Underneath. I've had this book on my shelf for several months, and I finally read it this week. Now, we all know that I enjoy a good fantasy. I love magic and swordplay, mystery, and most of all, I love the escape of it. This book had all of it, and then some. First of all, look at this cover. Look at this. It's gorgeous. I am green with envy because I want a book with a cover that's this gorgeous. So this book is about a kingdom divided into two parts. The above and the under, the righteous and the not so righteous, if you will. But I'll leave you to figure out which is which when you read it. So, the rulers of both of these kingdoms have been assassinated, and the heirs are now scrambling to pick up the pieces and figure out what the hell happened. And that's just the beginning of the book. So when I first started reading it, I thought it was going to be a young adult type book. I don't know why I thought that, but it is not. Though I wouldn't have any problem with my teenagers reading it. There are trained assassins. There are priests who are sex workers. Incredible, strong female characters. Mages with extremely dark magic. And something I really appreciated, LGBTQ relationships that are both genuine and tender. There's torture and blood and sex and freaking pirates. I'm telling you guys, it really hits all the marks. So I liken this book to a wooden roller coaster. You know, it's fast and it's fun, but it's also rough, a little dirty, and it really just shakes the bejesus out of you. So to try to give you an idea for the feel of this book, I'd say The Queen Underneath is like Leigh Bardugo meets Victoria Schwab. And I say this with great respect, and this is a high compliment from me. There aren't many standalone fantasy novels that have captured me like this one. In fact, the last one that I read that did was Starless by Jacqueline Carey, and she's a legend in the fantasy world. So for me, this is one of the best standalone fantasies I've ever read. If you like your fantasy dark and a little gritty, this is it, The Queen Underneath. All right, that was fun, right? Now we're going to have a quick word from our sponsor. Hi there, I'm Jason Lavelle, and some of you might know me from such podcasts as Spilling Ink or The Raven, but I also write books. If you enjoy horror or books about the paranormal, then these novels are for you. I take real paranormal events and spin them into fantastic tales that will have you gripping your comforter tightly. You can find me on Amazon or at www.jnlavelle.com. Okay, now back to your previously unscheduled content. Oh boy, that took a lot of effort to read like that. Holy cow. All right, strap yourselves in for this next one. The second book I'm going to talk about is Love Lives Here by Amanda Jette Knox. And no, it isn't that Amanda Knox. I can't hold up the book for you because it won't be released until July 30th of this year. So instead, using the magic of my computer, I'm going to pop the cover up right up there. There. Yes, that's it. Beautiful cover. I first found Amanda Knox on Twitter, and I grew to love her tweets advocating for LGBTQ plus rights. She's fierce, she's intelligent, and funny. So when I learned she had a book coming out, I had to have it. And I can't tell you enough. Those are all the features of my wife and my daughter. So it's just, I felt right at home. She was the perfect narrator for this story for me. So Love Lives Here is a memoir. And I don't read many memoirs. They just aren't my thing. But this book is very approachable. In fact, reading it is like reading a blog or a journal. And throughout the book, the author is actually talking to the reader, which I really liked. It was a cool personal touch there. Okay, where to begin on this? Amanda covers a lot of ground, so it's really tough to summarize this book. But in the beginning, we're following Amanda as she grows into an adult, and likewise her spouse. They do not have ideal lives, and the challenges they both deal with, even trying to get to adulthood, were staggering. And it was in this first third of the book that I cried for the first time. It was not the last, for sure. Then these two young adults meet and they fall in love. They start a family. Things are going good, right? And when you're reading about these two, you feel like, they really deserve this happiness because they've had such a tumultuous life so far. But life wants to shake things up a little bit for them. At 11 years old, the child they always thought of as a son comes out as transgender, and everything changes for them. Suddenly, this family is scrambling to learn everything they can about how to support their daughter and transition as a family. And that's not the only big surprise in this book, but I'm not going to lay the whole thing out for you. I'm just here to give you my thoughts, whether you like them or not. Love Lives Here is a beautiful masterpiece of a memoir that does more than tell an incredible story. It also teaches each step along the way, so that while we are entertained, we are also enriched as we read this. This book takes us down to the deepest, darkest parts of the human heart, and it leaves us there to look around for a bit, only to find that even in the shadows, love still shines through. This book forces us to do something very powerful. It forces us to feel. I laughed with the author, and I cried with her. At times I was cringing, but in the end I was cheering, because she left me with one last very important feeling, and that is hope. I learned so much from this book. I cried so much reading it, but at the end I felt really good about what I had read. All my life I've believed that love and kindness were the two most important thing, and this book reaffirmed that many times. And to be frank, I think every person should read this book to learn about things that many of us know nothing about, to learn a little bit more about ourselves, and to learn a little bit more about love. So, all right, so there's my reviews for this evening. Both of these books are fantastic. The Queen Underneath by Stacey Filak, and Love Lives Here by Amanda Jette Knox. So find those on Amazon. Love Lives Here, you'll have to do the pre-order thing because it doesn't come out for another month and a half, but both highly recommend. Both definitely worth reading. So, all right, guys, I am going to go back to sitting on the couch, watching movies, and reading a new book. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. See ya.